we've headed back along the path a little bit where we came before, and we're going to now go down the hill. It's a pretty steep hill. We're going to follow this wall down then, yeah, aren't we?
Okay. Are you filming this wall, Richard?
Yep.
Right.
I'll just get a shot of it.
Because this wall is going to suddenly turn into something else.
Okay.
The purpose of which I don't understand.
So the wall is coming down the hill, and then
it suddenly turns into a series of chambers.
Okay.
I don't know whether they're graves, whether they are ancient houses. I've got no idea, but you can quite distinctly see that once upon a time this was some kind of a building.
Yeah.
And it's not just one building, it's a group of buildings.
Uh-huh.
If we go over in that direction and we go that way, we've got another one in there. So it's turned into a little group of buildings in this little spot.
Uh-huh. So we've just got the wall there going up through these trees. Yeah. This looks like a building as well, possibly here, Anthony, I think.
I think this old place is full of buildings.
Uh-huh.
We've got to keep going. Yep, this is definitely a grave mound, and you'll see that the walls run down.
Go on.
And all of a sudden they change into a grave.
Right. So you think this is a grave mound then?
Exactly. Come and see for yourself. Somebody else shares my opinion. It's massive.
Right. The trees obviously were just put here afterwards, yeah?
The trees have just grown of their own accord. Well, in fact, there's another one down by there.
There.
Right.
I think that's a grave
That's
mound,
another grave mound, yeah, I'm certain of it. Look, somebody has done this recently. Recently, somebody has been having a dig into this mound.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody shares my opinion about this. Is a new one. I haven't noticed this one before.
Right, let's have a look what they've done there.
Well, you can see by the difference in colour of the stone, right? Somebody's been having a dig. It's a pretty fruitless and pointless exercise, because they'll never get in there. It'll take a large effort to find whatever is inside this place. I can show you one that's been deliberately destroyed almost by a farmer, so we can get a look at what is in the middle of one.
Right.
But not now, because we can go to that one and have
so
a bit.
That's the one here, just in the middle of the screen there. Okay. So yeah, someone's clearly
had a go at trying to get in. They're not going to make it, because if there is something in there, it would require a lot of effort to get it out.
Okay. You think that's another mound there?
I'm absolutely certain.
Okay. So do you want to tell us about this one?
If you follow me, a boat-shaped burial mound.
Right.
This is the front or the back, but probably the front. And as you walk down the structure, we'll go this way for a moment.
Yeah, clearly something.
You can see there's a wall on the side of it.
Yeah.
You can see it's quite a substantial width to it. This is more or less the end of the boat-shaped mound.
Right.
And at some other point or another, there's been a round one stuck on the end of it.
Okay.
This is another smaller mound.
Okay.
But still quite a substantial one.
Yeah.
And if you can look down through there,
sure,
you can see that they tend to keep them in close proximity to their walls, as if using the wall as part of the structure.
Like sort of containment for the mound.
Yeah, a containment.
Right. All right. So you reckon that's another burial mound there?
Definitely. It's got something to do with that pond.
Right.
This was once part of a temple. That pond was the central part of.
Right.
Can you see that standing stone right up against the tree? Between that post? We can go and take a closer look at it.
Yeah, we'll go down there between the posts. I can't see it from here, but so we are at the bottom of that bank where this is a disused railway line and it's been converted into a cycle path, footpath, whatever. I'll just pan round.
Look.
Okay. So the grave mounds that we've just been observing are on the side of this hill
there.
here.
There's more there.
And you reckon there's more grave mounds
over there?
They're all grave mounds there then, you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll just zoom in on those ones. And you were saying that you thought there's grave mounds all over the other side of the valley as well?
Yep. And there are more in this part.
Right, and this is the pond.
When I was a child, down near that farm, in the field over there, beyond those mounds by there was a perfectly intact one. It's been removed since I was a child.
Okay.
Gone. Now in.
So we're going to have a look at this standing stone. Is it a standing stone?
See that tree?
Which one?
Right through these two trees now. An oak tree.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you see the standing stone up against it?
Right, I'll zoom in on the standing stone. Okay, there we go. So can we go and film that?
Well,
so it's a standing stone which is next to... Oh, this is private land, is it?
Yeah, unfortunately that is.
The tree's just grown up.
The tree has grown on top. So how old is the wall?
Okay.
And look at this.
Yeah.
Something I forgot to show you. Because I only just noticed it.
We're on the side of the same hill again, and you reckon this is ancient walling as well here?
Yes, this is all ancient, and I believe that this is a small temple area. Like a satellite temple to the main one.
Right, okay. But how do you know that?
Well,
it might not just be a building of some sort, or...
Well, look.
Like an entrance, or...
This is definitely an entrance in, okay? This is a stone-lined and stone-paved pathway.
Right.
And if we were somewhere else, I could show a perfectly preserved example of one of these.
Right.
But it's to the north of Cardiff.
Okay.
On Wenacht, okay?
Alright.
And it's in exactly the same style. This is an ancient well. A very, very ancient well.
Right.
The sort of well where one would walk down into it to get the water. It's now a bit of a mess, unfortunately. And this is the remains of another well. And I think that these wells had a holy significance as well as being just a well. This is full of rubbish and a tree is growing out of it. And you've got ancient walling in this part. All over the place.
Yeah. So we've got the new houses here, and you reckon that the wall on this side, Anthony, is actually the ancient wall which has been sort of patched up in more recent times.
Patched up. This is original, this bit.
So you think this whole area, this modern housing estate, was built on top of some old...
I think the old village was built on something old.
Right.
I think the village that was built circa 1807 was built directly on the ruins of something 3,600 years old.
Right. So this on the right hand side here,
that's all ancient.
That's ancient, but at some point someone's filled it with concrete and put another wall inside it, then, yeah?
Well, that's on top of it.
But these stones here,
this is all
you think that's original? But, right, we've walked up this path from where we've just witnessed the mounds, and you're just going to point out the name of this house, Anthony, which is what?
Well, grey stones in English, Carreg stones, Llwyd grey.
Which means Great stones.
Grey stones.
Or grey stones.
Grey stones.
Okay.
I don't know why you wanted to do that particularly, but there you go.
Right, I've just sat and watched Anthony Williams' film about Garndiffaith with Alan Wilson, and I've come here just to get your opinion, Alan, on the archaeology that was portrayed in the film. What are your first thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts is that it is a piece of proof of the antiquity of British history as exhibited to us by our ancestors. Mm-hmm. You have to realise that in 1714 something momentous happened. All British history began to be thrown away and replaced by a weird idea of Celts. The Irish aren't Celts, the Scots aren't Celts, and the Welsh aren't Celts. If they are, then you throw all their history into the bin. All their histories have to be incorrect, right? Our histories are based on two major inward invasions. One by Albine from Syria, and that was by the medievals thought to be around 1600 BC. Actually, it's been traced accurately in that Leonard Woolley did excavations of the third dynasty of Ur in 1922-34, and he found that the greatest of the people was Dungi, and Dungi sent an expedition to Britain. Mm-hmm. Now that we've proved in spades. In the account found in Ur by Leonard Woolley in the late 20s and 30s exactly matches accounts in the British records.
Right.
And also artifacts found in votive chambers, little model bulls and sheep and balls and that, are identical with artifacts found in tombs in the UK. Right. So the actual date is probably around 1350 or 1300 BC, but that's pretty old. Right. But it proves that there is that link. The second migration was that of Brutus, and that's around 500. The Welsh say 504 BC. So you've got two ancient migrations, both inward. Brutus coming after the destruction of Troy and sailing from the Isle of Lemnos. Massive proof. That can be proved. But this was being thrown away deliberately in a campaign of political correctness. Right. Does that make sense?
Yes. You're talking, this is all pre-Roman, pre-Saxon.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How would somebody go about actually finding an exact date for such a site, Alan?
Well, we've been at this for 30 odd years. We published 9 books, and you can interlink the chronologies where one country has a war with another or a dispute with another, and where there has been carbon dating of artifacts in certain parts of the Middle East and in Britain, and it's a huge matrix that is slowly building up, and you can put a fairly good date on these things. You do it by interlinking different dynasties where there's a war between two ancient countries, or where there's a trade treaty, or where there's a marriage of king's daughter to the other king, and all that so on. And a matrix can be built up. I can't explain it in a few minutes, obviously, but it's fairly accurate.
So do you think any of these sites, like this lead slab with rock under, do you think there might be any carbon-based material in there that could be dated accurately?
Well, you can't carbon date metals, and you can't carbon date rocks, as you well know. Yes. But if there is some timber found in a location where it can be said, well, that's under there, so it's got to be that, or in one of these burial mounds, then obviously you've got a very good chance of carbon dating. Even cloth is again a fibre stuff.
So let's go down the assumption that these people settled from Albine,
yes.
In this part of Wales. Where does this pyramid-shaped stone fit in? I mean, or even this slab with writing on it. Are there any examples of similar things?
Well, I haven't seen the writing. None of us have. Yeah. That there should be writing. If you can link British history back to Albine, back to Dungi, the greatest of the emperors of the third dynasty of Ur, then obviously you should be looking to link those scripts, which is possible. The later expeditions of Brutus, well, if it's in that writing, then it's a piece of cake.
Right. All right. And if that site was excavated, you would presumably you'd excavate this traffic island first.
No, you know what's there so far. I mean, personally, I would think of one of the burial mounds might be one of the an untouched one would be a good target.
Right.
That's what I would think. The under the burial, what are you going to prove? That is a monumental task compared to a major task.
Right.
Does that make sense?
So you think the traffic island would be a really big job to?
Yeah. Well, I would think that I think you need to start somewhere where you get a date on it, get a handle on it.
Yes.
A burial mound might contain a bit of timber or something, and then you get it, or even artifacts that can be related back to other artifacts in other parts of the world. We know it is a fact that people came from Syria. That's why you get the name Surrey, right? And in the medievals, we're listing all the different people who, the Swedo, Henry of Huntingdon, and others, right? All the different peoples in England, you know, the Mercian, Vandals, the Mattles. They're not Angles or Saxons. The British up in the beginning, you know, Lancashire, the Vikings and the Normans, and they were listed everybody, the Angles, the Saxons, the Welsh. And they also enlisted the Ealda Cercenas, the old Syrians, and they were in certain parts of Britain.
Now, you mentioned that that particular valley that Garndiffaith is in, you've actually done a little bit of searching in that valley yourself at some point.
Well, because in '86, I think it was, Brian Davis, who's a very fine historian, in Panachybar he lives, he and I were working out star maps, as you know, and we worked out where the major burial centre might be by looking at star maps where, you know, that's where Lyra is, that's where Capricorn is, that's where Hercules is, and we were seeing where they might be in relation to more ancient cultures. Does that make sense? And we knew where the North Pole Star is, so we were looking in that direction.
Right.
We went a mile or so too far. We couldn't imagine it was in an area where everybody's living.
Yeah.
We were looking somewhere in the country.
Yeah. Underneath an estate. Yeah.
Aye.
Okay. All right then.
We missed it by a mile.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for your comments, Alan.